What's up, gang, and welcome back to another edition of Road Trippin with the Rudes.
Hi guys, and if this is your first time tuning in to a Rudes Real Review, thank you so much. Please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like this video as we'll have more heat coming your way.
That's right.
If you've been riding with us all along, thank you so much. Please be sure to comment down below so that we know you're here. And today we are getting into episode 3 of
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Yeah, let's go. Let's get right into it.
Let me just clutch my Okoye beads. So, before we get into this, guys, this is full-on spoiler. If this is your first time tuning in, we do not discuss anything together. We wait until we're here with you. With that being said, huge shout out to all the road warriors out there that have been commenting. They shed a lot of light on episode 2.
Yep.
Some of the things were the fact that there are black writers in the room. The person that actually did the music for Beyonce's Homecoming also did the score for that episode.
Yep.
And many of the band members from that were also in that episode, which is great.
Also, we found out that CWP is actually Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell's son.
Yes. And now I can't unsee it.
Right.
Like, and if you are like, Kurt Russell, that sounds familiar. If you're within the MCU, that is Star-Lord's father. Celestial father. So, now once you know it, it like makes perfect sense, right?
It does.
All right, so let's get into it. Episode
and also, listen, he had to close his Twitter. He had to shut his Twitter down because people were actually going on his Twitter page and like going at him. The
MCU is real. We are passionate about our fandom.
Which lets me know then he's a great actor if people go to his actual Twitter and getting on him about being John Walker. So kudos to him.
But I will say too, it's kind of like the backfiring, and they probably did it by design, but I said it last week, it's a lot like wrestling, how they try to put someone over and then you end up hating them, right?
Yeah.
There is like a visceral reaction when John Walker's on the scene.
Yeah,
John Cena. The Johns. Tale of the two Johns.
Yep.
Okay. So, episode 3.
Episode 3. I was in from the start. I was in.
Okay, so
I just love the direction it's going in.
Oh my god.
The action.
Yes.
It's wild that this is on Disney Plus. That's what
first of all,
thinking
and again, it is such like a movie. So as we were sitting there watching it, I really just sat in that space and I thought, okay, not even so much about how is this connecting to the last 2 episodes. This alone could be a standalone movie plot.
Yeah.
Like this in it of itself could be a standalone movie plot. And then you connect it with the first 2 and it's just bananas.
Yeah.
So we start off, and I know we were talking about this. So it is the Global Repatriation Council. Repatriation Council. So it's the GRC, which you will see like posters and stuff throughout the episode.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
They talk about reset, restore, rebuild. So it's a propaganda campaign.
Okay, I thought they remind me of CDC posters or something.
Yeah, they really do.
From the CDC.
I thought, so the one thing I did say to Corey was like, can you go back? Because I literally thought it was a CDC poster, but it was a GRC poster. So, they talk about reset, restore, rebuild, and then we have Captain White Privilege jump out of the back of one of their vehicles. So he works for the GRC.
I don't know if he works for. He's just working alongside with using their resources because, again, in the last episode, he thinks he is the government. Yeah. So he's using all the resources that he can.
Including Lamar, who can speak Arabic, because he needed Lamar to translate.
And no, that was German. He was speaking German.
Oh, okay. Including Lamar, who can speak German. He was using Lamar to translate to one of the individuals as when they got there. And
that was the cafe that they, took him in on the last episode.
Yes.
And welcomed
welcomed in Carly and the rest of the Flag Smashers.
Yep.
But here's the thing. I thought it was interesting that Lamar didn't translate exactly.
Okay. Yeah, he didn't translate the entire thing he said. Right.
I think that you know how you know when your friend is tearing off the ledge and you're trying to like bring them back. I feel that like Lamar is trying to do some damage
He's been planting that seed
from day one.
Yeah.
So
you can't punch your way out of it.
Right. The gentleman then spits on CWP.
Which lets me know how much of a punk CWP really is, because getting spit in the face is the ultimate disrespect.
But he was violent towards him, which I thought was crazy.
He didn't do anything.
He hit him, which, first of all...
I would have mopped the floor with that man.
Well, first of all, I thought about this. I thought, what would Captain America do? And then I'm like, Captain America would have never gotten spat on. So, this is all new. But I thought he knew he was stronger than him, and he still roughed him up, in my eyes.
Nah, not me.
I just thought
furniture moving.
Then they flash to the German prison in which Zemo's at. We have Winter Soldier or Bucky and Falcon talking, and then they say his prison number is 6172. I don't know. Out there in the comic book universe, I don't know if that means anything.
I'm sure,
is that an episode or something?
I'm sure it references a comic book.
61 to 72. We'll have to check it out.
Yeah, volumes.
Yep. If you're a comic book person, let us know. And Bucky says, I need to meet him solo. He's a big fan of Hydra, not so much the Avengers. And that's where you're reminded of what happened and what the Avengers did to his hometown of
Latvia.
Yeah. Yes. So it gives me WandaVision vibes from the standpoint of,
Stop doing that.
What?
WandaVision? Why you bringing up WandaVision? No, I'm saying, keep going, but
Sokovia, because it makes me think of Sokovia.
Oh, okay.
How he describes what happened makes me think of Sokovia, and then he, I'll fast forward, he talks about Sokovia later. But, so, Zemo almost, knows what's going on, I think.
Yeah.
He's got a pulse for it, because he says... Oh, and let me guess, you think Hydra has something to do with this?
Before this episode, I kind of was thinking he was pulling strings from inside the jail, so I was thinking he was the power broker. But after this episode...
Yep. So, I mean, and Zemo knows. Zemo says, you think Hydra has something to do with this? You come to me, which means you're desperate, right? So he knows he's going to really tap into that. And, Bucky goes out to Falcon and tries to win Falcon over with, hey, we've got to break him out, right? As he's doing this, they are actually in the process of breaking him out. Falcon just doesn't know it, right? Falcon's like, listen, this guy, Zemo had killed T'Chaka, which we all remember that, you know? Do you think the Wakandans forgot about that? Right, Falcon. Falcon brings up Wakanda. All roads, ladies and gentlemen, lead to Wakanda.
Avenge the Fallen.
Okay. I was right.
She was right, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I knew she was gonna come on here.
So wait, we're not there yet though. It's okay. It's okay. So then Bucky kind of gives Falcon the plan of Zemo's escape.
Look at how giddy she is. Now the first two episodes she was not this giddy. So she must have hit something right on the head. But go ahead.
I don't know what you're talking about. He's recalling or plotting the escape, but really it's happening real time. So I thought that was really funny. And then, Falcon's like, listen, I don't like how casual you are about being a natural with this. You're just too casual.
Right.
So Falcon's like, look, Zemo, where do we start? Zemo says, listen, we've got to go to a sketchy place. Now, has Mod Rapport been mentioned any other time?
I'm trying to think, and this is right after we just watched it. We're filming directly after we watched it. I haven't had a chance to research anything, and right off the top of my head, I do not think I remember Mananpur, is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think so.
I do not remember.
So, because Zemo's like, listen, we need to find Shelby. She's a first level fencer, but there are no rules there. So they do the history of the place, and it's an island, and it used to be a pirate's kind of haven, and it still kind of is.
Yeah.
Now, what I will say, guys, Corey has a lot of ideas and a lot of comic book knowledge. If you're not doing so already, follow us on Twitter at RoadRude. Okay. If you're not doing so already, please follow us on Twitter at RoadRudes, RoadRudes. Corey will start tweeting kind of his theories and interacting with everyone, because after we watch, we film, and then we probably watch like 2 or 3 times afterwards. Yeah. So that's just what we do. So he's got money. Zemo has money.
Zemo's paid.
And he's like, listen, I was a baron, hence Baron Zemo, right? I was a baron. And
that's a little different from the comic books, just by they were called Zemos. They were the Zemos.
Oh, okay, so he's like,
yeah, they're kind of flipping it
like they did the Flag Smasher.
Yeah.
So he says, I'm Baron. My family was royalty until your friends destroyed my country. So it ties into why he dislikes the Avengers. So it gives you that backstory.
And how he just dislikes super soldiers altogether, because he doesn't want them to team up
and unify. Yeah.
And be the Avengers.
Yep.
Hence why he went at them.
He says it. He takes Bucky's book. He, goes through it, and Falcon, I think, to try to get off the fact, because he's like, oh, you're trying to right your wrongs, right? Zemo knows all the people that he crossed as Winter Soldier, obviously.
Yep.
And just, why don't we give them some history on Zemo and Winter Soldier, because I don't know if we covered it.
Okay.
So, who is Zemo the Winter Soldier?
So, Zemo the Winter Soldier, we got to go back to Civil War, Captain America Civil War. Baron Zemo steals the book from Hydra, or wherever it was. Somebody had it hid up in their house somewhere. And it had the code words to activate the Winter Soldier. So, blah, blah, blah. He finds Winter Soldier, activates him. Then he goes and blows up the UN with T'Chaka and T'Challa inside.
Yes. So he weaponized Winter Soldier to his advantage. Yes.
Blew that building up. That was in Vienna when that happened. But they were doing a trial for the Sokovia Accords. All right, so that's the history between Baron Zemo and the Winter Soldier in the MCU.
Yep. So, and I think that dynamic is super interesting, because I think true growth is Bucky not taking him out, right?
Right.
And Bucky realizing that, hey, I can't kill you. We actually need you.
And Zemo was he had a little knowledge that obviously Bucky went through some
reform.
Yeah, because he was like, I wanted to see if the words when you heard the words, what you would do.
Yes. Yep. So he was testing him. So now, the book that we've seen in episode 1, where Bucky is correcting his wrongs, was also a book that was used by Captain America. So you get to see Falcon reflect on the book as he understood it with Captain America, and you get to see their relationship.
I don't even know how Zemo got the book. Did he pickpocket
just quickly snatched it. Yeah. But then you have Falcon talking about the music that he shared with Captain America, one being Trouble Man, which was Marvin Gaye, and they start talking about Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, guys, I thought he was talking about T.I.
Oh, my God.
I don't know why. I just immediately was like, okay, he had Captain...
Listen to Trouble Man?
Listening to T.I. But, and then Bucky was like, look, I'm more of a fan of the 40s, right? So Bucky just doesn't want to... We've all been there. We all know that person who has their favorite decade and hasn't left. It just is what it is.
Right.
Shout out to one of my favorite family members who, just really loved the 90s.
Yeah.
And is still there.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So, okay, then you...
Shout out to Nautica.
Right. You then... hear Zemo say, I'll need you when we're there to act like Winter Soldier. And my heart went out to Bucky, because it's like, don't take me to where I've grown out of. But Bucky understood the big picture and was able to, very much so like a soldier, follow directives. So I thought that was great.
Yeah.
You then flash to the GRC resettlement camp.
At that point, though, it's so many dynamics going at one time.
Life is coming at us fast.
So for me, rewind just a little bit where Sam...
Did you see him do the Thanos rewind? He thinks he's Thanos, guys.
Listen. Sam and Bucky were having a conversation, and it just took me to where I'm like, Sam is sounding like Captain America.
He really is.
Right? I'm like, he's like, no, we can't bust him out. We can't do this. That's not moral. You know what I'm saying? And it's like...
The connection. So
I was sitting there
I really appreciate this series because it really is making the connection. And we'll include our review, our Endgame review. But when Cap gave the shield to Falcon, I was thoroughly confused. Guys. And I know that in the comics, Falcon had touched the shield, but me, in my MCU mind, did not understand it. And it makes perfect sense. They were in alignment with so much. Morally aligned in so many ways. Yep. And for both of them, Bucky will be their risk-taker friend.
And this is just me. This is my theory. This is Corey's theory right here. Cap went back, put them stones back, and lived life through, and he's seen all the crazy racism. He lived through it. And then when he got back, he had
Isaiah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, remember, from the 40s on, Cap was frozen.
Yeah, that's true. But he
got to live through it and was like,
this is crazy.
Then though he skipped all of that and was working with, he became best friends. He didn't have Bucky anymore. Sam was his best friend.
Right.
So for him to go back and live through everything that black people been through from the 40s on, he came back with some guilt. He had to.
Yeah.
And it was like, Sam, here, take this, man, because...
We need you.
Yeah.
We need you.
The United States needs you.
I didn't think we did, and we do. We really do need Falcon. I thought it was interesting. We did not see Red Wing at all during this whole thing, right?
They broke that.
You flashed to the GRC resettlement camp, and who do we see there? But Carly. And I'm like, Carly's public enemy number one. Mm-hmm. She's in this resettlement camp, but... She's there to say goodbye to an older woman. Mm-hmm. We don't know yet who the woman is to her.
I do believe they said it was her mother.
At the end.
Oh, okay.
You see, Corey thinks he's Thanos.
Spoiler alert.
Skips ahead.
And we already spoiled it.
But at this time, he's like, hey, it's time to say goodbye. She's watching the children in the play yard. And, it's like very bleak conditions. And so then you get to know that, geez, what happened when the blip came? What if you were, 5 years in, you're living in a house, and boom, somebody shows up in your living room. Hey, no, I'm sitting here watching the game. I'm going to need you to leave. Right?
Yeah.
So, for the longest time...
But what if her mom was blipped, right? She was already suffering, and she feel like now she got dusted, she doesn't have to suffer anymore. And then boom, she's back.
She said she was there the whole time.
Oh, okay.
Because she talked about them being displaced. So here's the thing.
All right. My bad.
For the longest time, after the blip, you would think that this was this glorious, wonderful reunion. Yeah. Right? And then you get to Monica's reunion of her mom not being there. Yes. Right? So then that's your first jarring moment of, okay, stuff got real. Mm-hmm. And then you have Carly explain that, hey, we were kicked out of where we were when people returned. Right? So you go back to Thanos, what Thanos originally said, resources finite. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Now you have all these people back. They've got to eat. They've got to sleep. They've got to live.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then they just put people into resettlement camps. And I don't think it was just for the people that came back after the blip.
It was for people that was displaced.
Because of the blip.
Yes.
Because of the return of the blip.
Yes.
Return of the blip. Once again, return.
That was not rehearsed.
Sorry, guys. Hey, listen, if you're on Clubhouse, be sure to check Corey out every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Clean House Clubhouse mix. So he'll be playing hits like that.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, we get to see that. And then Carly's last words to her are, I'm sorry. Guys, when you apologize to a person on their deathbed, things are about to get real. Things are about to get really turned up for Carly, and we start to see that.
Yeah.
And very similar to how Lamar is watching CWP, how Lamar is watching CWP turn up, her team is going to start watching her turn up. All right? So then it flashes to Madripoor. Zemo is like, has them in, I don't want to say costume, right? Yeah. But he has them dressed up. And Sam's like, man, you got me out here looking like a pimp. He said only in America would a well-dressed black man be viewed as a pimp.
Which was the second time that he schooled, he schooled Winter Soldier the first time on the plane when he was saying about how, he was saying something about African Americans, and Sam was like, he's out of line, but he's also correct.
Yes.
I like that because he was right and he had a point. And what Sam was saying is it shouldn't have came out of his mouth.
Yeah, but he's right.
Yeah, but he is right.
You know what I think is amazing? I think this is important too because Sam, being a soldier, has traveled, but he's not well traveled, right? When you're in the military and you are doing a task, you are in hostile environments, you don't get to see how other people truly live, right? You're somewhere amidst the worst, right? Where Zemo is well traveled. He's global. He doesn't look at the African American that way. It's a game changer to be a global citizen, from a global citizen to just, the nation that you're from. So I thought that was great. So then, you have Zemo, like, they're like, okay, so who runs this place? They're like, oh, it's the power broker. And he's got, I've got no business with the power broker, right? They go into the sketchy bar. Sam is supposed to be this guy named Smiling Tiger, who he actually looks like. So I thought that was funny.
Yo, that was crazy.
I thought that was pretty funny. And Bucky as Winter Soldier. So, like, these people are familiar into the underbelly, right? And the person pulling all the strings is this person known as the power broker, which we don't know as of yet. And we can see that somebody's kind of watching them, but we don't know who's watching them, right? So then they go to the bar, and I think the bartender senses something. So he says to Sam, the usual. Sam's like, yeah. I don't think Sam was ready.
He was not ready. And it's like, it's subtle comedy with Sam. I love it, though.
I do.
It's the little subtle things that he makes it funny.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty dope because that scene where he's trying to take the drink, I thought that was funny.
They take a snake out, and guys, I'm sorry, I don't know what type of snake it is. It's gutted, and then it's dropped into a shot glass. And alcohol is added.
And Bucky was loving every moment of it.
Yeah. Every moment of it. Because
he's still trying to stay in
character.
Yeah, in
Winter Soldier
as
mode,
the
right?
Winter Soldier, but he's looking at him like.
So this is a pretty tense moment for all of them, right? Bucky doesn't want to be here. Sam doesn't want to be with Zemo, but they understand the greater good. Yep. So to have that like moment of comedic relief was pretty good.
Yeah. Because the tensions were high.
Yes. Zemo asked for Shelby. And then somebody tries to put his hand on Zemo, and then Zemo, in typical mode, acts as if he's commanding Winter Soldier
to attack.
Winter Soldier beats the brakes off this guy. They still have to stay in their role, right?
Yeah.
And then they meet with Shelby.
But hold up, Zemo was like, he still got it, don't he?
Right.
He said that to Sam.
I think it was almost scary how good he was with it. It was like almost a light switch, right? So then they meet with Shelby, and Shelby's chopping it up with them like, hey, I thought you were in a German prison somewhere. And he's like, people like us know how to get out, right? So Zemo has a lot of like good one-liners.
Yes. But you know what? When he does that, Winter Soldier, when he beats them up like that, is letting you know, because throughout the whole MCU after, Civil War, they kind of make it seem as though they tell him all the time, well, that really wasn't you.
But he knows in his heart. And imagine that, right? So it's like your dream when you're like, you want to scream and you can't scream, probably. Mm-hmm. And I think what was interesting is like, this was an underbelly place, right? And this is like, a lot of, highly ranked bad people. But when he was Winter Soldier, the cameras were a filming. So I definitely think what we're going to see from CWP is probably a smear campaign against Bucky, kind of saying, oh, this is public enemy number one. As you see, he's the Winter Soldier again. Look at what he's doing. And not have it in context with what really is going on. They meet with Shelby, and Shelby is like, hey, I thought you were in a German prison. Kind of that whole thing. Looks at Winter Soldier. Zemo says to her, what do you know about the super serum? And offers up Winter Soldier. If you give me intel, he is yours to do your bidding, right? Shelby is like all in, right?
Yeah.
And so then she starts to talk to them about a Dr. Wilfred Nagel. And they're like, well, tell us more. And she's like, listen, I'll give you crumbs, but the bakery is going to cost you, right? Mm-hmm. So then the phone rings. Guys, I can't express the importance of do not disturb. All right?
Yes. But the best part though was
it's Sam's phone.
She said answer it
on
like,
speaker.
That was gangster because she's like answered on speaker.
And her henchman like pulls up behind Sam, and Sam answers it, and it's Sarah. And Sarah's like, "We need to talk about this." And he's like, "What do we need to talk about? Which topic?" He's trying, but he gives it up.
And another thing, going back to Sam and being worthy of being Captain America, he's in this situation as a regular human being, me and you.
He
doesn't have his equipment.
Not even Red Wing.
That suit goes to show his bravery.
Right. That suit is loud, but it is not protective.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, this is what I'm thinking the whole time.
Yes.
Like, yo, Sam is mad brave for doing
this. Right. And so a fight ensues, and then Shelby is shot in the head. Mm-hmm. But not by them. But they're there.
Right.
So they're going to get accused of it, and then immediately the hit against who shot Shelby goes out. So they have to run. Mm-hmm. And when they run into... I was not ready.
Yeah. Well, I knew she was in it. I just didn't know where. But yes.
I didn't know.
Sharon Carter.
So, guys, give a little background on Sharon Carter.
So, Sharon Carter, again, it goes back to Civil War, right?
So, she's mentioned in episode 2, I think. Because he's like, Sharon is still on the run.
Yes.
When they're meeting Isaiah.
Yeah. So, back in Civil War, she, worked for the CIA, I believe it was, or someone, some government agency. And she decided to side with Cap. Yes. She figured Cap was right, and she helped them get that shield back. She stole the shield. So the same thing that would have happened to, Ant-Man and everybody that teamed up with Cap, they went to jail.
Yeah.
All right. Cap and Sam went on the run, as well as Sharon Carter did. Yep. But we never knew what happened.
Do we know if Sharon was hit with the blip? I guess not, right?
We do not know.
But I guess from looking at her success, as far as being...
Yeah, she had to be around because I think she built was around. Like a little empire.
She brings them to her house, which gives me the Collector vibes. Right?
Okay.
And they talk about, real Monets, real Rembrandts versus the fake ones that are in most museums. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciated the artifacts conversation because it brought me back to Killmonger in the Black Panther. Mm-hmm. All roads lead to...
we are in sync today.
We really are. Guys, I may not have spidey senses, but you gotta know, I have vibranium vibes. And I've been talking about this all along.
Vibranium vibes, though.
So, okay. So then we have Sharon's looking like she's doing very well.
Yeah.
And they're like, listen, we've got to find Nagel.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So.
Who works for the power broker.
Who works for the power broker. So, Sharon is talking to Sam. Because Sam feels guilty. I'm sorry that I left you. I'm sorry, I didn't reach out. And she said, this whole hero thing is a joke, right?
Right.
The way you gave up that shield, deep down, it's all fake.
Yeah.
So she calls him out, and Zemo goes, not so deep down, right? So then they find Nagel in these, what do they call them? The storage?
Yeah, storage containers. Mm-hmm.
So, super underworld this place is. Mm-hmm. They could do a whole series on, what is it called?
Namapur?
Yes, they could do a whole series on that. Mm-hmm. So then he talks about the fact that, hey, after the 5 failed soldiers in Siberia, after Hydra split up, the 5 failed cases in tests in Siberia, I was recruited by the CIA. And then with the blip, everything, all of their funding and so forth disappeared. But while I was there, I was working on blood samples from a super soldier. The blood samples of Isaiah.
Yep.
I was able to break them down. I was able to, not in a bulky suit, not in superhuman size. I was able to break it down so that they looked average. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. The blip, kind of the funding went away. And then I was recruited by the power broker who seemed very invested, seemed very interested in this whole thing. Right?
Yeah.
So boom. Great. Power broker, we're getting that buildup. The whole time that they're in there with him, Sharon's like, hey guys, we've got heat. Hey guys, they found us. Come on.
Yeah.
And when I tell you this fight scene,
she held it down. She held it down outside.
I was getting anxious because I'm like, you 3 guys, not all 3 of you need to hear this story. I need somebody to come down and help Sharon. Whew. Sharon killed it.
Held it down.
She literally killed it. Yeah. Right? And you had a bunch of people coming. And then...
she held it down for her grandma on that one.
Then Zemo shoots Nagel. And so we think Zemo's gonna Zemo. Yeah. Zemo's gonna Zemo. Yeah. And we see Zemo disappear, and I thought he took the serum.
I did too. I thought he was gone.
A big explosion. Movie, when I tell you this movie theater budget, this is crazy. Mm-hmm. This one episode would probably, comment down below if you know, but I feel like that would be the budget for an entire series. Not a season, like some entire series.
Yeah, one episode. Though.
Right, this one episode, that's what I said. So, then you have Zemo pull up. He just left to get his car. He knew he had a car there.
Yeah, he seen one.
He pulls up to get them. He's like, it's supercharged.
Let's go.
Falcon says to Sharon, come with us. Come back to the U.S. She's like, I can't go back. Mm-hmm. And you could tell that Falcon feels bad, but Sharon has business to do.
She said, just get that pardon for me.
Just work on that pardon, but Sharon has business to do.
Yep.
And someone pulls up for Sharon.
Mm-hmm. And a Tesla.
And it was at that moment that we knew. I knew.
I did too.
That Sharon.
She got to be the power broker.
Is the power broker.
She got to be. She's the power broker, bruh.
It all makes sense.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. Yeah. I am tired of working for the government. I need to push my own agenda.
But if we think she's the power broker, whose goons were those?
That were chasing? Would they put a hit out on whoever killed Shelby?
Okay.
And so there were alerts. So it's everybody just trying to get money. I feel like we see that on a lot of action movies, right?
Okay.
So it's just everybody trying to get money. Sharon as the power broker, guys, hit after hit after hit after hit.
One. That's what I was about to say. And then
we see Carly talking to her homie and recalling giving the serum. Mm-hmm. And then she talks about Mama Doñas, which I think is either her mother or somebody who took care of her, mm-hmm. and plans to using the serum on the kids that are there at the camp. So now we know what it is. It's not a vaccine, it's a serum. Yep. And we now know where she wants to use it, yep. Right?
So it's 12 of them left unless they were able to recreate it, because he said he made 20 of them and Carly took them. And we know there was 8 super soldiers. Yep. So there's 12 left.
Yep. So Captain White Privilege and Lamar show up in the German prison where Zemo escaped. Yep. And
they know that
he's trying to do some shady stuff. Yeah. And Lamar calls him out and he says, you know what? If this is all resolved, do you think they care how we did it? So he's on some by any means, you know, the ends justify the means type thing. So that's his mentality, which is the polar opposite from true Captain America and Falcon. Yeah. So then Falcon calls Torres, which that made me cringe.
I know. But I swear, I think Torres is on the up and up. Unless he's with Thunderbolt Ross. That's the only other thing.
Listen, I don't know. And Falcon's like, you should have taken, when Bucky says, you should have taken the shield. And he's like, listen, we'll get the shield back. And he said, yeah. Falcon's like, we'll get it back. We'll destroy it. And he's like, no, I'll get it back and I'll keep it. Yeah. Bucky's like, I want it. But Bucky, you really wasn't for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess that's what... Ugh. Okay, so then we go back to the Flag Smashers.
But he don't want you to destroy it because of what it stands for.
Right. Where Falcon knows that it's faulty, right? There's 2 different Americas. It's tainted. Yeah. He wants to destroy it and kind of build new. Yeah. The Flag Smashers, then we go to the Flag Smashers. They're taking supplies from an area to take back to the compound. And Carly jumps into the car and he's like, hey, why aren't you getting in your car? She says, buckle up. Her car explodes. He looks at her and goes, there were people still in there. Mm-hmm. And she said, this is the only thing they understand. They only understand violence. That was her Magneto moment.
And it was that. And, think about it. She lost her mother. So what? She ain't got. She
lost her mother to tuberculosis while in the camp.
She don't even have nothing else to lose.
Yep.
So she's like, what does that mean to me?
Yep. Yeah. And then we flash to Rhaegar Lativia. Is that right?
Lativia.
Yeah, Lativia and Baron is talking about Latva.
Something like that. I don't know.
Baron's talking about Sokovia. And have you even visited the memorial? And of course they haven't, right? But Bucky says, listen.
But the memorial he's speaking of is the one you see him at the end of Civil War.
Yes.
He's looking up at it. That's the memorial he's talking about. And that's, in his hometown of Latva.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm sorry. I always think Sokovia. And yes, Avengers left a lot of places destroyed, right? So then Bucky breaks off because Bucky sees a Kamoya bead. And he already knows. And I already knew.
Yo, as soon as we seen the first one, it was like, yo, that's a Kamoya bead, man.
Insert Lil Boosie's daughter. Told y'all.
I'm not inserting that.
I knew, and Bucky knew. Right? So Bucky goes to the second one. He's following the beads.
He's like, where you at?
And he's like, I knew you would come. And then...
It's T'Challa's security chief. Her name is Ayo. It's AYO. That's her name. And she
says, I'm not here. I'm here for Zemo.
He said, I knew you would come here.
I knew you were coming.
I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And so did Nicole.
I knew it.
I'll give it up. Nicole knew it. She did. She was wearing her Wakanda gear from day 2.
Guys, for the rest of the day, I will be playing with, and shout out to, again, my music peeps. I will be playing Aretha Franklin and George Michael's I Knew You Were Waiting for Me. Because I knew you were waiting.
Nice twist, man. Nice little twist and turn.
I can't even speculate on what is going to be covered on episode 4. That's one thing.
Well, we halfway through the season, right? It's only 6 episodes.
Yes, but there is so much going on with each episode. You can't even predict what's going to happen next.
You know what? You can't even predict what's going to happen next in the episode. Because every time you think they're going left, they go right. Every time.
In the words of Zemo, supercharged.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I can't wait until next Friday. I can't wait to interact with everyone in the comments.
Who did you think it was going to be at first?
When do you mean?
When you seen the Komoyo beads.
So in my heart of hearts, I was thinking it was going to be Nakia because she's out of Wakanda. And that's Nakia's thing.
I thought it was going to be Shuri because they're doing scientific stuff.
I don't think Shuri's ready yet. I think Shuri's doing some work, but Nakia is used to doing recon.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm just saying, we're getting into the scientific aspect of things where they're making serums, and now that the scientist is dead, who else do you go to but Shuri?
Yeah, guys, listen.
Because who's left? Okay, you got Spider-Man, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to think of all the smartest people left.
Yeah.
That is currently in the MCU, and the only two people that are left would be Spider-Man and Shuri that are the smart, and Banner.
Yeah.
So you got 3 people.
Guys, it's amazing. It's amazingly done. If you liked our review and like our feedback, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe. It really does matter. Hit that notification bell, like this video, comment down below. Like I said, huge shout out to everyone with their great feedback for episode 2.
Keep it coming.
We go through your comments. And just like it takes us to the next level, and it just excites us even more for what's next to come. And again, if you aren't doing so already, be sure to follow us on social media at Road Trippin' with the Roots, or for Twitter, it is at Road Rudes. So, guys, I'm excited. Anything else, Corey?
No, listen. This is a good show, man. This is my type of show. Little crime, action, crime fighter, mystery, suspense, action. It got all my.
The only thing that's missing in this is doom 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 doom.
I didn't want to say it, but yes,
that's all we need. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and until the next time.
Keep tripping.
Bye, guys.